Hi. Okay, this is a general intro that I'm going to add to every one of the 12 readings I'm about to do for each sign individually, but I've got the cards organized right now. I'm going to do house readings. I'm going to go for each sign. I'm going to check each of your 12 houses, what your energy is in them, and that's my idea of the most accurate sort of diagnosis I can come up with. You know, it would be my version of, you know, it's similar to the, well, it's not similar to a Celtic cross or something, but in terms of not just my free flow normal readings. So what I wanted to show in introduction was how I'm going to use the cards to classify a bit. I'm going to identify, I'll put, one card will be up here, so whatever your sign you are that you're going to be identifying with in the reading, it'll be up here. For me, this is Aries energy, Leo energy, and Sagittarius energy, but by houses, by first, fifth, and ninth houses, right? That's what how I'm classifying the energy. So you might very well be King and Queen energy and watching for Aries, right? So what I'll do is I'll have the Page of Wands up, identifying it as Aries, but the other cards will go back in the deck. So if you are coming out in Knight or Queen or King energy and it needs to come out in the reading, then it will, okay? And we'll correctly identify. So similar, Taurus, because we all know, I keep going on about this, I reclassified Earth and Air to match the houses, but also there are more reasons to reclassify them in their cardinal, mutable, and fixed energies than just the cardinal points that Ptolemy gave them. So I'll make a video arguing that out. I explain it most videos, but Taurus at Page, cardinal energy, Virgo, Knight, and then the entrepreneur, because of the career house, the 10th house is career house, so King and Queen energy for Capricorn, okay? But again, same old. If you're watching for that sign and you're in other, you know, you're in a particular energy, then it'll come through in the deck, because I'll just put the one card up as a signifier and the others will be back mixed in with the deck. So Gemini, and otherwise, so remember Earth and Air I've reclassified. Gemini, Libra as the Knight, and Aquarius as Queen and King because of 11th house, 3rd house, 7th house, and 11th house, okay? And Cups, Cancer, 4th house, Scorpio, 8th house, and 12th house with Pisces. And I would make note that with Pisces, because the 12th house is all houses, and Pisces can take on the qualities, the attributes of any sign, because they've been through all of them. So this Queen and this King wear all the crowns. Even more so than how we classify with the Emperor, right? Or even the Empress. These two, because they're all signs and all houses, they wear all 8 crowns. So that's how I classify those. They'll be representing your sign. For the houses, I know that this is typically in tarot, this is an Aquarius card, but I like it to be, I'm going to use it, it can be identified with Aries in first house, yes. And so I believe in astrology it's used as a first house card, is how I first learned it. So I'm going to use it for first house. I'm going to use the Hierophant. I often, in my astrology work, I'll use him as Chiron, as a planet placement, but I'd rather use him in this. I won't worry about a Chiron card. I'm going to use him as the 2nd house. Lovers for 3rd house. Chariot, because it gets confusing between the, I use the High Priestess card, which is normally a 4th house card. I use her as a Lilith placement, which may or may not come out in the reading, but I'll know if it is. And Lilith, as a lunar experience placement, can be magnetisms and polarities. So they'll give me definite messages if I need. So I'm using the Chariot because that is a 4th house card. It's a Cancer card, so it might as well be used. I'm using the Strength card for 5th house, yes. Of course, Hermit for 6th house, Justice for 7th house, Death for 8th house, Temperance, of course, for 9th house. And I get torn with this because I know it's Capricorn, but it's I could use the World card, but I use the World card for Saturn as a planet placement. So I'm going to use Capricorn's card, the Devil, for 10th house, Aquarius and the Star. And I do equate the Tower more with 11th house with Uranus than with Mars and Pluto in Scorpius. It's a split camp. If you go researching online, it's as far as I know, it's a 50-50 split. But I've done my research, and I've got my articles that I refer to that identify the issues that the Tower brings more with Uranus issues. So I'm going to use the Star, obviously, for Aquarius. And then in astrology, the moon is Cancerian, but in tarot, it is Pisces. So, and I need it because Hangman has the Neptune meaning. So these will be, I will use these. They won't be in the deck. They're going to be signifying the houses. So they're going to stay out of it. So what we do in place of them, and they'll be up here. I'll just have one card up at the top, and that'll show which house we're working on. And then for the planets, right? So these will be put back in the deck so that if there's a house that's affecting your house that we're reading about, or there's a planet affecting that, right? Then we have them mirrored, right, by their rulers here. So Sun and Leo, the 5th house. Mercury, so the Magician is Mercury in 3rd house. Of course, Venus, 2 houses. We've got 7th house and 2nd house there. So, and we're going to use High Priestess as Lilith. So any lunar house she might represent, right? But let's say she typically represents the moon, so that would be Cancerian. But Mars, right? Emperor. Jupiter, the wheel. Saturn, the world. So for me, Uranus, the Tower, Hanged Man, Neptune, and Judgment, Pluto. Okay, so those will be put back in the deck. And now let's get to your individual readings, and I hope that makes sense. That's what I do when I'm using the cards in chart work. And now, I'll break for a moment, and I'll be right back. Hey Sagittarius, how are you doing? Let's get into it. Got the 1st house card out here. I know in tarot it's considered to be, I think I probably said this in the intro, but it's considered to be Aquarius energy, which would make it 11th house. But in astrology, I'm used to using it as the 1st house card, and I believe that that is true. It's certain. Why wouldn't it be? It's 0, and it's the Fool starting the journey, starting the cycle. So that would be 1st house. Now 1st house, Sagittarius, would be your rising sign. And I would say absolutely check sidereal placements for your rising sign. I keep forgetting to post a link to the site that does the best sidereal chart. I'll try to remember that this time. I believe AstroSeek, but because I use it often enough. But I kind of have it an automatic link, so I stopped thinking of the name properly. But again, that'll affect the sidereal would be accurate to where the stars actually were when you were born. Tropical is outdated. It still affects the season that you were born in. Like, you can still identify with that, and there are still auras. It still affects the energy because it just does. So that's why I combine it in my charts, in my birth charts that I do for Pink Spider. I combine tropical with sidereal. So you can still hang on to, but your sun placement would shift, right? But yeah, so the 1st house, apart from being accurate, knowing it accurately, and that's your core self, that's your inner self. I'm a Scorpio rising, so that means I'm Taurus season, sun was in Aries, right? But by and large, and I've got placements everywhere in the chart, so I know I've got a Pisces mind, so I can identify with any house, any sign, because that's what Pisces does. But by and large, because you can't spend all day watching readings as much as I'd like to, I've got to get work done. So by and large, if I'm checking on my status, if I'm checking on readings for myself, then I go to Scorpio. So this is very much, and because your first house is your trajectory, it's also your physical characteristics, but your life, the path that your life is taking, right? And any issues, I want to say not necessarily, well, if it's ego related and in terms of a strong ego, then, you know, fifth house would show up. But anyway, that's my little preamble just to explain. And it's ruled by Mars, of course, and Aries. So that would be the ace, the 2, the 3, the 4 of wands. So let's see, Sagittarius. Okay, some stuck energy. I take them as they fall. Okay, so if it's sideways, we're stuck. Something in, okay, wow. Okay, all right, Sagittarius. Your inner King of Pentacles is stuck. So your career energy or your reputation energy, possibly the money that makes you comfortable. You know, it could be, yeah, it could be financial flow that is stuck. We'll find out. So this is for me 10th house energy, not 6th house, not Virgo. It's traditionally associated with Virgo, but for me, Capricorn. All right. And are we in crisis or... Okay, something's in progress. I've got it at a 45-degree angle. Ooh, okay. We do have Aries energy. We do have first house energy. This is complete first house energy. The 4 of wands, we have an 11-11. So there's possibly a twin flame situation or a soulmate situation. However, we do have instability and it's tending towards the reverse. It would take a lot of work to get it to be upright. So let's find out why. It might not have to do with a relationship. Okay, it has to do with some kind of betrayal. But it also has to do, if we're going to talk houses, 11th house for me. This other people would put as Gemini, but Gemini I put as cardinal because it's the 3rd house. Lots of things need to get started in the 3rd house. And so by the time you reach this is for me mastermind thinking. 8, 9, 10 is mastermind thinking, and therefore this belongs to 11th house. Okay. Hang on, please. Okay, I had to pause for a day. So that might have something to do with your story because there was a very clear, I was ready to start, ready to get into it, and then I was like, but I was kind of thinking, is it time or, well, I'm just going to go for it. And then boom, life interrupted and said, no, it's not time. So I feel like that there's a timing thing. I don't feel like it was just me trying to make a schedule work or not. I feel like it's part of the story. And I was rewatching I felt like this almost came out sideways, but it did come out. I watched a couple of times, like a sports replay, and it's because it slid out, but it did slide. But this completion energy, so a cycle. Now it looks like it's coming up to a stuck energy. That's what it looks like a plateau kind of, and then we would have it actually toe to toe with this King of Pentacles energy. So we'll find out. I'm going to actually leave it in that position, and I'm going to put, I don't want to put this just in the reverse. What do I want to do? It's not stuck energy. It's in progress. It's in progress. I'm going to put it this way. Okay. That's first house. So we have Aquarius, Aries, and Capricorn energy. 10th, 1st, and 11th house energy in your first house. So there's the self-awareness. Okay, let's go to second house. This can go on quite a while. Second house, finances. Ooh, another in progress. This is okay. So a soulmate. Okay, now soulmate or there's a gift. We've got a 6. We have a 6. So we have a 10, and a king and a 4. But then we have that instability going back to that 3. Okay, so now we have a 6, which is a gift. It's in progress. It's in progress, and it looks like it's in the same position as that 4 of Wands in reverse, right? So possibly now there might be somebody, and this is Scorpio energy, so it could be a spirit guide that's coming through. Somebody from your past, obviously, or a past. And I know that, okay, so it's a recurring theme in your reads, Sagittarius, that somebody else's ancestor is trying to get through to you to work with you. Probably as a professional guide. But we'll see, because it's in your finance house, in your contracts house, in your marriage house, in your, well, not just the marriage house, because obviously we'd have 7th house to say something about that as well. Your Jupiter placement. Venus and Jupiter is actually a bigger deal than Venus and Mars, it turns out. Okay, so Scorpio energy, a gift coming through, some kind of spiritual connection, insight, guidance, relationship. In your Scorpio energy, well, Scorpio is directly opposite Taurus. Taurus being the 2nd house, ruled by Venus. So for me, 2nd house would be the Ace of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and 4 of Pentacles. Okay, flipping over in the deck, and right as I said, okay, now they wanted me to say it before they showed it. They wanted me to be clear about it. So, now we have infinity here. The decision to accept or not to accept. It's in the upright. It's making up your mind about a situation that you haven't made up your mind about before. Like a new, that's what I'm trying to say, is a new situation. So either a new investment. This is a cash flow card. Again, so that King of Pentacles that's stuck. And, you know, these ships in the background that you can miss or catch. Being in your head, right? With that 10 of Swords there. Very much thinking. Like the Wands of Fire, like this is a fire house, okay? Like this is your Ace of Wands house, and your wands are down or close to down, right? And so your fire is, your fire, Sagittarius, for Queen and King of Wands energy, right? The fire is suffering because we're heavy in Swords and Pentacles. So the earth and the air. Now fire needs air. Wow. Heavy, okay. For me, this is Libra and Gemini. So what I was saying about 7th house, this is for me a 7th house card. Others would put it as an 11th house card, but for me it's 7th house. So if we're talking about a relationship, now obviously, now this could both be you, or this could be you and the other person, because the Knight of Swords isn't anything like the 4 of Swords energy, right? There is stability and progress with movement. Interesting. Sword of Truth. For me, this is full third house energy. Page of Swords energy. So, what follows the page but the Knight? The Knight might need to pause. Okay, the mystery. The plot thickens. Does that mean anything? I don't know if I'll get another card for this house. Okay, yep. In almost a similar direction, but not quite. So fourth house energy, wow. Okay. Instability again. So something family related, absolutely. Or home related. Or there's a disconnect with guides. But you're probably watching tarot readings all the time. So is it that there is an intermediary that you need to, like, this is, okay, so as someone will point out, Jennifer, Soul Source Tarot, she loves to point out that, you know, it's a direct connection to God energy, the Hierophant, right? That if we remove the readings and what you receive directly, it's in progress, but it's inclined towards, so that's 2 4s, okay? So that's 2, like the same with the 4 of Wands, they're both inclined to be down. So we've got a spiritual, we have an Ace of Cups, basically, is what we're looking at, that's affected your love, your spiritual well-being, everything is being affected by other people, possibly. I've had this show up as a death card. It's been proven to me after the fact that it was meaning, you know, it's been revealed to me after the fact by an event that happened after I got the card. There's like, that's what that was talking about. Somebody was dying. But now I know it wasn't in quite the same direction as these cards. So there's a lot in progress. Let's just look at the movement here in your second house. We have the 2 at the heart of it that's in the upright. So a decision that's needing to be made to progress into what kind of a 3 and what kind of manifestation. We have a gift on the way in this that's contributing to this decision. Okay, so you need to hold off on deciding until this gift comes through, probably, because the 6 leads to the 7 of transformation. The 6 is the affirmation that you're on the right path, okay? Regardless of which suit it's coming through. It'll be an affirmation, and it will be the means, okay? There are means involved here for how to do what you want to do. Okay, so bearing that in mind, it's very interesting. I'm not even sure how to keep track of these cards, but we have, like, that's a 4. We have 3 4s already, so we have almost stability in your thinking. Right? We've got mastermind. Clarity, we have clarity. Clarity about a contract, clarity about a long-term partnership, a long-term commitment. Shall we say commitment? Okay, so let's go to third house. Third house of what you know, who you are in the community, ethics, the truth of, you know, human truth, human history truth, but because of knowledge, because of, if you know the truth about Adam and Eve and the African prophetesses, Mami Wata, give you a few names there to look up, Mama Zogbe, Natural Tahuti, who's also, his real name is Nathan Howard, and he spoke so much truth. He is on YouTube. His videos go back 7 and 8 years because they got him on false drug charges and then a trumped up murder charge while in jail on those false drug charges because he was actually dropping a little too much truth about yep. So this card will always get me to talk about that. Thank you, Pamela Coleman Smith, from Jamaica. So yes, an ethics card. Choices, obviously lovers, but ruled by Mercury. So the mind, your mind and imagination being fed. In the 11th house, it's what you do with it. Third house, what you know and who you know. Now we have that Four of Swords here. Interesting. Interesting. Here is where your independence is, Sagittarius. What you know. Now Gemini is directly across from you. I'm just going to turn that to the upright. Gemini is directly across from you, of course. We have 10th house energy for me here. Not Virgo. Sorry, I'm blocking the view. So this is exactly that King of Pentacles. Stuck. Okay, so there's stuck between what you know and what you're going to do with what you know. But here you have like career energy. So is it going to be as a teacher then? Does this start to explain the dynamic happening in the second house between being student to being teacher? Huh. What kind? Wow. Shit, doesn't get clearer than that. Your Ace of Cups is stuck. Fourth house energy. I feel like there's a truth. This is almost a deeper truth than the Ace of Swords, isn't it? What's with your cards just sliding out, eh, Sagittarius? Do we really need to say more? Look at her. Look at her just bridging. Bridging, bridging. If that's not the truth. Huh. Wow. So much movement for you right now, Sagittarius. But you're Sagittarius. Of course there's so much movement. Now. Setting your mind. Setting your mind. Okay. This feels very clear. It looks very clear. God, thank you for that. Thank you for that, God. Okay, absolutely. I mean, she's almost... I'm going to keep her in the upright. This one I think was a little bit that way, and she's a little bit that way. So we need to pull them together. Harness them. Align them. So that what we're looking at possibly is some alignment. Some spiritual alignment. Let's find out. That is so beautiful when this is why cards are so helpful. Okay, fourth house. So let's tackle the Six of Cups. Well, that's Scorpio. Okay, let's tackle the Four of Cups and the Ace of Cups. Fourth house. Home of those cards. And balance and a zero tolerance policy for any toxic behavior. Which I have found out in my astrology work. And you can watch me find it out if you go to my astrology videos about fourth house. Okay, direct and wow. Okay, Pisces energy for me. King of Cups wears every crown. I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that it's toxic behavior. That's a possibility. Let's find out. Now, is it you or is it... Wow. Uranus energy for me. Others would put it as Pluto, Mars, Scorpio energy, but for me it is absolutely Aquarius and Uranus energy. Of course tied to Saturn energy then as well. But that Ten of Swords, boom. So divine timing. This is major, but it looked like it needed to be major anyway because of that 6 coming through. So the 6, okay, so the 6 of Cups is tied to this Tower. I think the 6 of Cups, because it is closer to upright and this is stuck, right? It's not happening yet. I think the 6, somebody's bringing in that cup to you, and it's going to make this Tower possible, is what I feel. Because I'm just going to double check that, but because we have... Yep, and if your career energy is riding on it, 6 with the 2, with those swords, with the 4 of Cups. Yep. Okay. That 10 of Swords inside, just so it's yeah, because that's why I put, yeah, and it's that internal tower of those 10 swords, that completion, right? And when you've completed something, you build something up, and then it's innovation time. It looks like you're losing, but what they're actually doing is building with you. Like, for me, this is why it's Uranus energy and it's Aquarius energy and not Pluto, Mars, Scorpio energy, because I am so heavily Scorpio and I know what death energy is, and this isn't death energy. This is like, holy shit, where the fuck am I energy, and where did everything go? This is like my favorite movie for a long time. I'm not sure if it's still in the top spot, but and it's not because it's the best movie, of course, because as soon as they say the name of it, you'll be like, huh? But Twister, and let's not even get started on Spielberg. Let's just not. But absolutely, Twister, and then of course Oz, and anything tornado related has been a huge spiritual theme in my life, and before I could understand why. And because Uranus is heavily in charge of the direction of my life, and Uranus cycles, so like when you're 21 and let's say 10 and a half and then 42, and multiples of 21 start to add up to a full Uranus cycle. And those are the years that, if you look at what happens to you in those years, then you can kind of see where Uranus is taking you. But yes, so something excellent. It might not feel excellent, but if you can step into it then and work with it. So it's tied to this. Now Pisces wears every crown, okay? Pisces king and queen wear every crown, and they are every house and they are every sign. That's what 12th house does. And so Pisces tends to need extreme organization because there's so many different kinds of people to be, and so many kinds of things to do. So we could be looking at overwhelm here. Wow. Yeah. God, look at that. Look at that. Damn, Sagittarius. A Tower and the Hangman in your 4th house. So you're thrown, yeah? That King of Pentacles stuck, falling off his throne now. That Ace of Cups in your 3rd. Something needs to be known. We need to act like this forced change of perspective. It's coming. It's coming with that 6 of Cups. This is, okay, so again, so 12th house energy, right? Neptune, soul contract. I feel like a soul contract. Yeah, yep. Soul contracts and free will for me. Of course, Neptune is the dreamer, the fantasist, but also it's like this is Jesus on the cross, right? So, and you have the stability of 4, right? So all that instability. So very interesting. We're going to figure out what it's, some kind of spiritual truth or love truth. But I feel like it's so big that, well, love is big if it's a relationship. But we have, well, yeah, it could be because we have it in the Lover's house. But it's to do with, you know, the mind, Mercury. Okay. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I would say easily overwhelmed. Okay. Well, let's just get back to fire energy in the 5th house then. 5, 6, 7 of Wands, creativity, leadership, pride, ego, strong ego, good ego. Yes. Lunar versus solar. Empress versus Emperor, you know, this strength. We have Lionsgate coming up. We're in Leo season. We're in Leo season, but Sun is in Cancer. For a few weeks yet. Okay. Wow. Ooh. So Scorpio energy. Okay. All the cups, all the 5, 6, 7 of cups. So now that Knight of Swords. That Knight of Swords. So this is either you or somebody coming in with that. There's that Ace of Cups. But again, we have that 6 of Cups echoing, right? And this Knight carries all the awareness of the 5, 6, and 7. So the Knight brings, he understands that 5 of Cups. You know, despair. Okay, if it cut out, then I was saying he's on the move. There's movement. There's movement in your 5th house. Movement in your 5th house. And again, well, and okay. Scorpio energy can be extremely creative because it takes things that are inanimate and animates them. Yes, it takes the dead energy, brings it to life. I would say Scorpio even understands the creative process, or carries the creative process of, yes, doing the extreme heavy work of solving blocks, of solving what gets in the way of being, that needs to be destroyed in order for you to be creative. Yeah. Again, that's the death energy. That's the death energy. Like actually not not the transformation of a tower, the death of the death card. Which is ironic because I would say Scorpio's transformative. But, okay, here we have that. See? Beautiful. Beautiful. That birth, that beginning. Isn't that just echoing the Six of Cups? And the Two of Pentacles. So there we have that decision. And I said you need to wait before deciding. You're in decision mode. You're in your head. You're deciding. But there's a gift coming. The cup is tied to the pentacle. Beautiful. This is why I love doing house readings. I clean homes and I clean houses. This is what I knew when they brought me into astrology. I didn't know I was coming in. Well, when they brought me into tarot, same time as astrology, I didn't know. They got me to do a bunch of other things first. And I still do the other things. But then I understood why I was had a home cleaning business. Wow. So something more Taurus energy. Look at that. Look how it's pointing straight at that ace. This is like an unequal situation. Possibly. Something, again, it's closer to being in the reverse than it is to being upright. The question is, do you want I need some clarification on that. I think I do. If I go back, well, we might get it in 8th house. I mean, 5th house is heavy on creative collaborations, or shall we say teamwork. It doesn't have to be necessarily creative, artistic. It can be any kind of discipline, scientific, you know, what do I want to say? Athletic can be, you know, Wand's energy is very physical. Very physical. This is a conflict of interest card for me, because I don't think everybody wants to be a Mason, and this is all very Masonic. Everything in there is of course, based on Hermetic and Masonic, and shall we say, Kabbalistic, but that's taken from Kemet, which is taken from a lot of West African stuff. You know, like there's just so many. The telephone game, yeah? We have a Mason who's the stonemasons. The guilds are not the same as the Freemasons. Okay, one were actual Masons, and Freemasons, no, are not the same. But we have, he's consulting with the nun and the monk, and we know what we think of a lot of anything to do with, yeah, I just won't go there. Well, that's what I'm trying to explain, though. Further to the Adam and Eve card, you can end up in heavy debts, and you have to sign over to terms, yes? And you might not want to. It might get very, like, you don't want to be naive, right? You just don't want to be naive. If it's too good to be, like pyramids, yes? You just don't want, I mean, they do run most of the pyramid schemes. And if most of the systems in the world are pyramid schemes. And some of those I learned the hard way. Absolutely. And sank a lot of money into them that I'm still paying off. But then you get on the inside and you find out from the inside. So, and that might be part of your problem, Sagittarius, is you're trying to get out of Because we do have death energy here, right? And if we look at it in terms of leadership energy, let's just take that in. Yeah, there's your own energy. There's where all your wands are. In the upright. A lot of ties that bind. But we have completion. We have death. We have death bringing a beginning. And this is in process. In progress. Very interesting. Look at these uprights though. Okay. Okay. So we're going to carry on from there. Let's just put that in reverse for now. Because I think I'd feel better about that. Let's go to 6th house. So Virgo Hermit. Again, this is going to be an echo of 3rd house in terms of it's ruled by Mercury as well. So what's in your mind and your magician energy, right? The mystic is, the Hermit is the mystic, is the graduating version of the magician. Routines, health. House of routines, health, problem solving. Yes, systems, revision, analysis. It'll come to me as we go. For me, the Knight of Pentacles and the 5, 6, 7 of Pentacles. Got some slow, taking our time with stuff here. Now this is interesting because it's going to remind me of the 4 of Swords with that Knight of Swords together. So there's pain. If we go deep inside, there's pain. And it looks like it's still fairly fresh. Because it's closer to... Well, actually, I could be wrong. What if it's closer to being over? Let's find out. I mean, we all have old pain. 3 in reverse would take us back to the 2 of Swords. Otherwise, we're going towards that 4 of Swords. Oh, geez. Look at you with all your different directions. How? But it's squaring off. Let's say it's squaring off there. Which they're pushing each other. Okay, wow. What a... you can't get more of a contrast than that. Now, here's that King of Cups energy. And the Neptune energy. So here we have that change of perspective going on. And you're aware of it. You know it. You know what needs to change. However, 12th house and 3rd house for me. I mean, others would put this as Libra, but for me, I backed it up to Gemini, to 3rd house, to Gemini. And you do know, because look at all that strength in your 3rd house. But look at all that movement in your 3rd house. Now, wish fulfillment. Here in your 6th. Now, Pisces is directly across from Virgo. This is close to your North Node. Your 10 of Cups is your North Node placement. Basically the opportunity toward something, the thing that, you know, where you're aiming for in this life that you haven't been before, or that you're working towards. And interesting. Libra energy for me. Necessary change is stuck because these are squaring off. Now, the thing I know about in astrology, I'm going to take from Vedic astrology, Jyotish, or Jyotisha. They like squares. I think the West is scared of squares, but they embrace squares because squares mean there's a push to make change where there might not otherwise be any movement. Yeah. And I like that. I like looking for the positive because I like to, I'm not one for, well, with my background, heavy, every kind of Christianity we could name. I grew up in it for multiple reasons, multiple family members and all that. But, and I've taken it all apart. That's why I'm not scared to take astrology apart. Especially from Greeks that were scared of the number 0. Or the concept of 0. Okay, to the point where they killed people who talked about it. So, you know, we don't need to take their word for everything, especially since they did not invent astrology. And that's why I don't take their word for air and earth placements. And so this is Gemini and this is Libra. But yeah, this necessary change. So your 7th house is probably going to be pretty interesting. All your houses are pretty interesting. But let's say this change is stuck. But we do have that 4. See, we need to go back to that. Where's that? Is that in here? No. Yeah, well, that Tower and that Neptune or that Hanged Man are gonna. Is it in your 2nd? That. Yeah. That's where they are. Now they were in this direction, a whole other direction. It's not even squaring off.